group coaching format. Stephanie, are you there with me still?
I am here this morning, Kevin. Thanks so much.
Good. Well, I know one of the things we're covering today is we're going to talk about some specific objections with buyers. And I know if you want to kind of set the scenario, we've got a group of your coaching clients on here with us as well, don't we?
Yep. So we've got one of my mastery clients up in our hometown has a large team and are getting internet leads, and there are certain hurdles that they're wanting to overcome much better. So what we've got today is we've got Kevin Cottrell here, who is the master of scripts, and he's going to be working with whatever you can bring to us. I know that I'd love to hear what your top objections are that you're hearing. And this is only for buyers. This isn't a seller mastermind. It's a buyer mastermind. So Kevin, let me just turn to you and say, how many objections, or what are they, that we get pushback on when a new lead comes in?
Well, and to frame this up, and it doesn't matter if it's buyers or sellers, there is no training ground for buyers to learn new objections. They've always been the same objections, and it's very similar to some of the objections you would hear or give to somebody in a retail environment. The number one, most common one, and we'll talk about this today, is I'm just looking, or I'm just getting started, or I'm not ready to buy right now. I mean, there's a lot of variants of that same thing, which is a reflexive thing from a human nature standpoint that is a pushback. And what I want you to be thinking about today, or thinking about this if you're listening to this, is that's probably the number one thing you'll hear. And you need to think about the fact that there's probably some pretty important information, and we'll discover what that is in the course of this call, that helps you understand whether that was just a reflexive response or truly they are just starting to look and they're just a serial real estate looker. And there are people out there that just sign up on website after website and they just love looking at houses and they never think that they want to purchase. But we need to figure out whether they just push back out of reflex or they truly aren't looking. And we're going to go through that today. Now, other things you'll hear, I already have an agent, which is another variant of a reflexive response, and we'll talk about that today. It's going to be part of what we go through. And then from there, there's I don't want to meet, or it kind of gets back to the first one, which is I'm just looking, and whether it's a pushback or not. And I'm wondering from your client side, is there anything else that is not part of those two that is an objection you're hearing a lot that you'd like me to cover today?
Now I'm gonna turn that over to the panel that's on the telephone. Other than what Kevin mentioned, what is the other big pushback you have?
I think hearing, obviously with the just getting started, but then, coupled with, I would have to list my house, and I'm not quite finding anything that catches my attention.
Okay, so in other words, we're going to get into, because there is a key question, and we'll talk about that today. Somebody that could rather be, instead of an initial buyer lead, it could be a great listing lead. And if you're in a team environment and your rainmaker is your listing specialist, or there's a listing specialist on your team, that could become a great lead. Okay, and then the other one is, I haven't really found what I'm looking for yet. Just make sure I understood correctly.
Yes, correct.
Okay, and anything else?
Chip, how about you?
I'm not ready yet. I'm still probably 6 months to a year out.
Okay.
Okay, which is sort of a variant of I'm just looking or just getting started. Fantastic.
Which is valid. And it could be that they are 6 to 12 months out, right, hon?
Right. Absolutely. I mean, it's one of those things where if you're listening to this or you're on the call, you're listening to the recording, what you've discovered in the course of like 3 minutes is there really aren't a lot of pushbacks. I mean, there just aren't. I mean, there's not 100 of them that they go practice at a seminar on how to drive real estate agents. Crazy. And so the good news is if we get really good at working our way through this discussion, it's one of those things that will become easier and easier for you because you expect it. You're excited when it happens because you're having a dialogue with the buyer. Now, what I want you to understand as a framework for this is you should be not combative. You should be not argumentative. You should be positive. And when you repeat and affirm what they said, which you heard me just do a minute ago, it leaves the conversation to lead forward, not make them feel bad that they said what they said. And they're not used to that. They're used to combative real estate agents. What do you mean you're not ready to buy? Or a variant of that, and I know that a lot of agents use this, would be that you use something that's akin to what's in the other arenas of sales, like including the auto industry, which is a variant of, if we found the perfect home today, are you ready to purchase? That's not going to work well with somebody until we know that they're very, very motivated. Now, the one variation of this that we need to understand is, most important thing here is we have to know their motivation and their timing. And I'm going to role play this in a minute. But even if you don't get anything done on the first call other than knowing what their motivation and their timing is, that's the whole purpose of the initial call. And we need to understand a couple of things, and we'll role play this. And I'll do this with Stephanie just so she can push back on me. And I'll go through and I'll discover some things. And we'll do it a couple of different times. The first time I want her just to basically push back and say that she's just looking. And then we'll go through one of the other objections, which is discovering that she has a home to sell. And then the last one is, I'm not really seeing properties. And I think that covers the first three scenarios we want to go through today. So you ready to role play, Steph?
I am.
Okay, fantastic. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hi, this is Kevin. I'm a real estate agent here in the St. Louis area, and I saw that you recently signed up on the website St. Louis Real Estate Today. And I was calling to find out, how long have you been looking for a home?
Gosh, Kevin, I'm really just getting started. The last 30 days, maybe.
Getting started, which is great. You know, and we hear that a lot. So tell me, what brings you into the market to even get started looking for homes?
We've got. We've been living in an apartment for a while, and we just got married, and, we thought it'd be nice to maybe buy a home. So we were thinking, maybe in the next year or so.
Okay, so you're thinking in the next year or so. Well, congratulations on your recent marriage. That's exciting.
Yeah.
So
thank you.
You said you're in a lease. Now, did you just sign a lease together with your new husband, or have you been in a lease for a while?
We've been living here for about 6 months.
Okay, so was it a year lease? Do you have like a year left on it or something like that?
6 months-ish.
Okay, fantastic. And do you have a specific area that you are going to look in as you start looking?
We were thinking the Chesterfield area.
Okay, so the Chesterfield area, fantastic. And has somebody actually had a good conversation with you about the purchasing process from the standpoint of financing?
No, not yet.
Okay, fantastic. I'd like to, probably as a good step for you, in order to get you started, to have you understand what you need to do in the next 6 months, I'm going to have my lender call you. Is this the right number to have him call you?
I'm sorry, why is the lender calling me?
Well, you probably want to walk through the process of understanding your purchasing power and what it takes to get mortgage financing. Have you done that with any lenders yet?
No, I hadn't talked to anybody, and I didn't think it was necessary to do it this early in the game.
Well, one of the things we see is quite often there are some prerequisite things. That is either documentation, maybe minor errors in your credit report that the lender will catch early, so it doesn't become a bigger item down the road. So we encourage people to do it right up front. It's a free process. It's a quick conversation. And I can have Matt call you either right after we're off the phone, or would this evening be better?
Gosh, I guess probably this evening would be better.
Okay, and I know that he's got some time, and typically he can call either after 6 or would later on, like more after 7 or so, be better for you.
After 7.
Okay, fantastic. I'm going to pull back out of role play. If you explain what's going on, Stephanie threw me a couple of different objections here. What we wanted to find out, and when you have a condition versus an objection, the condition here is the lease. I'm going to try and get this buyer into my pipeline by getting them pre-approved with my lender. And she pushed back and said, well, why do I have to do this now? Can I do it later? And I went through an explanation, and she may have pushed back again, and I could have given her other examples of why this was a benefit for a buyer. As a condition precedent to her purchasing, having a lease for 6 months probably doesn't make it a great lead that you're going to try and close for an appointment. Your lender should be doing the pre-approval, and then you should be talking with your lender, and your expectation with your lender should be that they should have the conversation of, have you thought about, potentially getting bought out of your lease? Is there any chance that you're going to look at purchasing sooner so we can make sure that we're ready to go on the mortgage side? It's the way to cross-sell versus you just hammering your way through it. So, Stephanie, any thoughts or additional things you want to add on that?
Just the power of the lender, especially with this particular team. They've got an awesome lender that will get all over their leads. And guys, I can tell you for an example, in Austin, Kevin works with a few clients, and every client he's ever referred to Matt, our lender here in Austin, it accepts the fact, based on the conversation with Kevin and his confidence in the way that he doesn't really ask for approval. He doesn't really ask for permission to have a lender call him. And one thing he doesn't do is give them the name and number of Matt and tell them to call Matt, because that'll never happen, will it? So I know you guys there have an awesome lender. So you have to make sure that I guess there's 2 or 3 different ways that every call can go. One, you're going to refer them to the lender. 2, you're refer them to your listing team, which I know you guys are doing an awesome job at. I see each and every one of you referring to the lender 3 to 5 a week. That's super. Or you're referring a couple listing leads a week to your listing team, which is awesome. So it's going to go one of a couple ways. You're either going to send them to your lender, send them to your listing team, or try to set an appointment, to meet with them, to talk to them about the process so that you can show them what's going on in the real estate market. Remember, you're a market expert in your real estate market. Or 4 would be just to let them enjoy the website and then call, put our next contact data. Does that make sense, Kevin? Are there any other alternatives that we should know whenever we're making our calls? 3 or 4 things are going to happen, not just deleting them or moving them into the dead pile because they say they have another realtor. Because we don't care. If you guys are getting a pushback on, I already have another realtor, we don't care. We just keep going because we know most realtors don't follow
so many people break with the realtors or the realtors get out of the business. And the most important part about this is I didn't react negatively to her saying, I'm not ready to purchase, I've got a lease. It wasn't just an immediate, just go enjoy the website. I wanted to qualify her and ask her some questions because I wouldn't have even gotten to the lease conversation unless I asked her, what brings you into the market, and had her have the opportunity to tell me that she recently was married and we're renting right now, and then I asked her some questions about timing. And it was always repeat and affirm in a very positive way. It doesn't matter what they tell you. If you're positive and excited about their process of purchasing, they're going to be receptive to having a conversation with you. Even if they're a driver or a D-type personality, you're going to have to be really short and direct with them. They're not going to want to be on the phone very long, but you can still find out the same information. So let's run through the second scenario where we're having a conversation, and this time we're going to turn this into a listing lead because they have a house to sell. So in other words, they're just getting started, they're just looking, but they're going to have a house to sell. So we're going to have to go a little bit further into the script. I'm going to skip a question just for brevity for us to stay on track with time, and there's some discovery about, the name of the caller and some of that. But ring, ring.
Hello.
Yeah, this is Kevin. I'm a real estate agent in the Chesterfield area, and I saw that you recently signed up on our website, St. Louis Real Estate Today, and I was calling to find out how long have you been looking for a home?
Oh, I know we just signed up, but I signed up on a bunch of different websites. So you're with St. Louis Real Estate Today, is that right?
Yeah, we have the site St. Louis Real Estate Today. Are you enjoying the site?
Yeah, I am enjoying the site, and we've been looking for a couple months, and still haven't really found anything yet. But we have a house that we have to sell first.
Okay, so you do have a house to sell in order to purchase.
Yes.
Well, fantastic. It sounds like you're ahead of the curve, and we love working with clients that are proactive and start to look so they can get an idea about what's available to purchase and they have a home to sell. Have you started getting your home ready to go on the market, or what are your thoughts on that from a timing standpoint?
Yeah, we've been thinking about it. I mean, there's a couple things we need to do as far as painting, I think, and I guess we're really not sure what we need to do to get ready, but we haven't met with anybody yet.
Okay, so you haven't met with anybody, and you've got a couple of projects, but it sounds like it's definitely in process, if you will. Is that correct?
Yeah, and because we are thinking maybe like, I don't know, 6 months maybe.
Okay, so you're not sure about the timing, but it could be as long as 6 months. Well, that's fantastic. What I'd like to do is I'd like to have Michael, who's the listing specialist and the leader of our team, give you a call, and he can certainly call you either later on this evening, or we can pick a different time that will work better for you, say tomorrow, have a quick conversation with you. And that's one of the things that he'll be able to actually cover with you. Michael's going to talk with you a little bit about what are the projects or things that you need to do to get your home prepared to get the highest value, and what are the thoughts on timing, because the timing for putting things on the market makes all the difference in the world. And you do want to probably sell your house fairly quickly and buy a new one, don't you?
Yeah, we were just thinking that maybe that even, after the holidays, because I know that, there's probably not a lot of buyers out there during the holidays, and it looks like it's right around the corner. So that's kind of what we're thinking. So I'm just wondering, do I really need to meet with Michael already?
Well, that's something you and Michael would want to talk about. I know that he's gone out and done some consultations in advance of people putting their house on the market. And, sometimes it goes the direction of them wanting to get on the market sooner rather than later, and sometimes they end up waiting a few months and, go on after the holidays. But that would be something that he can review with you as far as the benefits of now versus, say, after the holidays. Would you like to have Michael call you later on today, or what's a good time tomorrow to have him call you?
Probably tomorrow night.
Okay, so would say 6 or 6:30 work better?
6:30.
6:30, fantastic. And again, it's going to be a quick conversation, and you and Michael can run through your thoughts on timing, and he'll be able to give you a lot of input as far as the process of putting your home on the market, what's working in the market today.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to have Michael call you tomorrow at 6:30.
Okay, that'd be great. Thanks so much.
Okay, fantastic. That's how you get a listing lead for a listing specialist on a team. And it's almost like a straightforward process, even if they push back and say, well, do I really need to do this now, or what do I? You can explain to them that, well, that's something that you and Michael can talk about, but he's at least going to be able to give you some input on what's going on in the market and some of the projects you may want to undertake.
So I just kind of want to bottom line this so far, Kev, is that there are, again, we should have a goal or an objective or an objective for every call that we make, regardless if they're 6 to 12 months out or 3 months out or whatever, is that you can go, and I'm just wondering, how many times do you all get that lender question in the middle of this, so that you're not trying to meet with them when they're 6 months out, and you give them to the lender, you can count on the lender. We hold your lender at a high level of respect, and we know they'll take good care of them, and they'll reach them. So I'm just curious, Chip, just, as far as, are you asking this question with everybody you talk to?
Absolutely.
You are?
Asking it more.
Okay, yeah. I think you guys
are. I'm much better at it now than I was in the beginning.
Yeah, well, it takes practice, doesn't it, Chip?
It does.
Yeah, you have to get really comfortable with asking these questions and knowing that whenever I pick up the phone, there's 3 or 4 different ways this can go. Remember, one of 3 things is going to happen today, but there are 3 or 4 different objectives, and that's all that matters. Just focus on that. I'm either going to get them to the lender, I'm going to get them to the listing team, or I'm going to try to set an appointment to meet with them personally. It can go a number of different ways, or I'm going to just have them enjoy the site for a little while and then set up a next contact date. So we've kind of covered. So when they say, I'm just looking, I'm not ready yet, well, that's when you're going to get into the lender. Well, I understand. Like Kevin said, I repeat and affirm. I understand. I hear what you're saying. Some of our clients feel the same way. But what I'd love to do is have my lender give you a call so you can learn a little bit more about the process and what's going on. Is this afternoon or tomorrow better for you? Sit there and give people alternative. Go ahead. Chip.
I'm not sure who was going to ask, but we have the one other scenario I know we wanted to cover, which is the scenario of I'm not really finding what I need to purchase. And that may be the reason why they got on the website. So why don't we just role play that, not from the very top, but from the standpoint of, I'll ask you the question. So, Stephanie, tell me, how long have you been looking for a home?
About 4 months.
Okay, so for about 4 months. And I'm always curious, when people sign up on our website, what brings you into the market for purchasing a home right now?
We are actually moving from North County into St. Charles County for
Okay, so you're moving County, St. Charles. Okay, fantastic. Yeah. And is there a goal in terms of when you'd like to actually get the move completed?
Probably not till like the first of the year, just with the holidays coming up. But Kevin, I'm not seeing anything that I like, and I set up my search on your website, but I'm not getting back what I'm looking for. So just a little disappointed because I'm not really finding the houses that I want to, and I go to open houses all the time, but we're just not finding what we're looking for.
Okay, so let's take a look at it, and that's something I can go through with you here. I mean, we have the ability to set up more than one search, and that's my job, is to help you, make sure that we're delivering the right properties. Are you getting emails on a daily basis where you're seeing listings, or just not the right ones, or are you not getting listings even sent?
No, I'm getting daily emails, but I'm just not seeing, I guess, what I'm looking for.
Okay, you mentioned that you typically take a look at it every day, and you've been doing this and going to open houses. Are you actually seeing houses you're interested in at all when you're driving through areas or going to open houses?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay. And, how long have you been looking?
About 4 months.
For about 4 months. And have you not found anything in the 4 months that you've wanted to write an offer on, or I'm just kind of...
Well, we have, but then it seems like they get sold pretty fast, Kevin.
Well, they absolutely do, and that was the reason I was asking, because I work pretty closely with some of the buyers on our St. Louis Real Estate Today site, because on occasion, once I understand their requirement, the property won't even hit the website. A lot of times it'll come up live in the MLS, and there are buyers out there looking at it, and as you've just mentioned, they tend to sell quickly. So why don't we spend a few minutes talking about what you're looking for? I'm going to go out of role play now, because now I get into a conversation about, is she have a search set up right? And then we're now into an active dialogue about what you're looking for, and I can get some basics down and then close you for an appointment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, does that make sense, guys? Is that, again, this is the option number 3, is that, let me help you. That's, remember, part of your job. And part of the reason that you're getting all these internet leads is that you should be helping everybody with safe searches. Mm-hmm. What people don't understand, and we really, really emphasize this in all my teams that I'm coaching, is that they're probably on 4 or 5 different websites. They probably haven't figured out how to do a great search. So your job as the home search director, before you even get into representing them as the realtor, is to make sure that they've got great safe searches. So Corinne, maybe your example was, I'm not finding what I'm looking for. And I know you've got a lot of sphere of influence that you've got in your car right now, but make sure that we set up great searches using the advanced search tool on the Real Geek system. If you've got to get in there and really get down and get nitty-gritty, it is what it is. And sometimes if they're looking for land or a property with land or something else, sometimes, and I don't want to see you doing a lot of this, you might have to set them up in the MLS. It is what it is, right? But one of the other cool things that you do is that, remember, we preview property for buyers. So Kevin, could we take this, I'm not finding what I'm looking for, and maybe turn that into a 20-minute setting up safe searches, actually, having that issue with them while you're on the phone with them today, but maybe inviting them to have coffee to talk to them about what is it specifically that you're looking for. Is it, right? Because it's not always just about brick and mortar, is it? It's about, well, I want to live in Soulard because I think it's a cool place to live, or I want to live in the Central West End and high-rise because I want to be living downtown in Clayton in the financial district. It's more about their why, isn't it, Corinne, than it is about the what sometimes.
Definitely.
So that's why, Kevin, we always ask, why are you in the market to buy a home? Tell me what's going on in your life right now. Because I had somebody I was even coaching up there who lives in, it doesn't matter where he lives now, but he's in Eureka, but he really would love to live in Kirkwood because it's a cool place to live, and he wants to be able to walk downtown to the farmer's market or what have you. It's about lifestyle, guys, not just brick and mortar. That's why you've got to get to their why. Does that make sense, Corinne, to add that other question? Just really kind of go after them. But couldn't you invite them, especially if you haven't met them yet, they're still a stranger, you know what, I'd love to meet with you for like 20 minutes for coffee. And
Definitely.
let's figure out what it is that you're really looking for and what matters to you, because what we have found with some of our clients over the years is that it's not so much about the brick and mortar. It's about the why. And what kind of life experience do you want to be having? If you can touch them there, because buying is an emotional decision, right? Selling is more of a business decision. Buying is such an emotional decision. But Corinne, could you just go right to, especially with the ones who say, I can't find what I'm looking for, shouldn't you try to meet them for coffee?
Yes.
Okay.
To offer help and say, hey, well, let me help you figure it out.
Yeah. I've got them.
Explain the benefit. So just to tie this
Yes.
down, because I know we've got a couple of minutes. When Stephanie said to me, I'm early finding, and when I do see things, they tend to sell fairly quickly, I would say the following. Stephanie, are you interested in learning what these successful buyers are doing in order to beat other buyers to the punch and actually getting to buy these, sort of premium homes that sell quickly? What's Stephanie going to say? Absolutely. Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we spend maybe 15, 20 minutes. I'll go through with you exactly, because I've represented some of these buyers, and how they get ahead of the pack, if you will, of everybody that's looking to buy homes just like what you're looking for, so that you're able to actually beat them. So I've got some time at, 10 o'clock, or would late afternoon be better for you? We can grab a cup of coffee. I'll go through how these buyers are winning when competing with all these other buyers. Now I'm explaining the benefit. It's always got to be about them and the benefit for them. And then you need to be very careful about the fact that you're making it seem like I'm getting an appointment as the agent, because they're going to push back when you do that. And so even if Stephanie said, well, I'm not really sure, why do I need to do that? I'll ask her another question. Say, well, I think it really comes down to whether or not you're serious about beating other buyers. I'm not attacking her. I'm just asking her a question. Are you serious about beating buyers on these hot properties and getting to purchase it instead of watching them slip through your hands every day?
Yeah.
See how much more powerful that is to ask that question that way.
Right.
Right.
So, Nettie, are you still there, dear?
Yes.
Anything in all your wonderful, years of wisdom, anything else that's been coming up that maybe either you've got it figured out and you've tackled it, or anything that you just keep getting stuck on?
Well, the biggest rebuttal is the I'm not looking right now, but the people aren't as receptive as you were role playing. They're like,
sure, of course,
they're a little more harsh. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, and we're role playing in such a way that, of course, I'm going to be a little more agreeable. But if you can maybe get some of these other questions in there, and Nettie, for those that are maybe not so nice to you, it would be trying to get into the lender. I mean, just saying, hey, one of the things that we do provide, the service that we provide, is what I'd love to do is have my lender just give you a call to talk to you about the process, or flip it to the listing side. And don't ask for permission, Nettie. That I'd love to have Matt, my lender, give you a call, and with tonight or tomorrow, be better. What do they say to you when you do that?
Well, I haven't said that. They would just say, I'm just looking. Oh, I was just playing on the computer. And then you go in with the questions, and they're like, no, I said I'm not ready. I'm just looking. Don't call me again. Something like that.
Right. And some of those are going to be that way, aren't they, Kev? Yeah.
Well, you're definitely going to get some of that. So why don't we close with a role play with Stephanie being combative to me like a driver, a good driver would be.
Yes.
And I'm going to show you how you can at least, before you exit the call, you need to have a little bit of quick information. And so I'm going to demonstrate in the span of less than 30 seconds, I can find out whether I need to follow up with them or not. So, Stephanie, how long have you been looking for a home?
Gosh, I've been out there, I don't know, for about a year now, just kind of checking it out.
Okay, you're not combative enough. All right, we'll try this again.
Oh.
You're trying to get me off the call.
Hi.
So, how long have you been looking for a home?
About 6 months. Kevin, why are you calling me?
Well, Stephanie, I just wanted to ask you a quick question because I don't want to bother you. We find that people that have been looking for 6 months are either just looking because they like to look at homes, or they're just not ready yet. Which would you describe yourself as?
I'm not ready yet, and I really am just looking at houses. I mean, I'm thinking in the next couple of years, so I'm not ready to move forward yet.
Okay, fantastic. So you're thinking the next couple of years. Well, I want you to enjoy the website. Are you getting listings that you think would fit for a future purchase, or do we need to tweak your searches?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, Kevin. I thought that I was getting everything that was on the MLS. I thought that's what your site was all about.
Absolutely, but you do have the ability to narrow it down by searches. So, when I have an initial call like this, again, I don't want to bother you. I just want to figure out what your timing is. So are you waiting for a couple of years because you're not sure about purchasing, or are you in a long-term lease?
We're just not sure about purchasing right now. We do have a house to sell, but Kevin, like I said before, I'm just really just kind of checking it out and seeing what's going on. We don't have any real reason to be moving. Just, wanted to move from Eureka into Kirkwood at some point in time.
Okay, which is great. I mean, we want you to enjoy the site, so please do. If you see that the searches aren't fitting for the stuff you're looking for in Kirkwood, let us know. You can either press the Contact Us button on the website. You can call the number in the upper right-hand corner. But I do want you to enjoy that. And if you want information about selling your house, we're happy to do that as well. And we'll follow up with you periodically, because people's timings change. But as I hear from you today, not ready. What you think it could be as much as 2 years, and
Yep.
you do have a house to sell in order to purchase. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Well, please, again, enjoy the website, and we will follow up with you periodically because we have found that sometimes people's timings change. So please do enjoy the website and have a great day.
Okay. So, again, off script right now, guys, there were people that we've had on the site for 2 or 3 years that raised their hand 3 years later. And I think one of you actually picked up a buyer off the site. It's been some time ago, and had been on the site for 3 years. So, and I just want to reiterate, this isn't about scripts. Don't kill anybody just because they say they're just looking. In other words, don't mark them dead, or don't move them into a different pipeline, or don't tell. I know you guys are giving some leads to your admin and saying, kill them, move them out of the pipeline, or whatever. So I don't ever kill anybody. Does that make sense, Kev?
Yeah, and to close on this, what I would have done with this lead is I would have shot Michael or any listing specialist that's working on these things and say, this is not going to be a hot lead, but this is a listing lead. You could probably call them in a week or two and just follow up and just basically touch base and ask them about their interest in selling their house. And they can sell it on the whole aspect of, we've got really low inventory. There are people looking in your area. If you've considered doing something sooner rather than later, I'd love to talk to you about, if your house might be a fit for somebody we have in the area. Just kind of bait them on whether they're really interested in selling.
And going back to Nettie's comment about if they're just really, if they're mean and ornery, but we know they have a house to sell, Nettie, I would still give that listing lead to Michael and to Karen. I would let them know, and I've actually sent over a listing lead form. It's just a piece of paper. I know it is what it is, but I would then give it to them and let them not fight the battle, but let them see what they could do as far as getting an appointment to talk to them about, well, maybe we just need to meet for 20 minutes so I can show you what's going on in the real estate market and what your home could sell for today. And then Karen and Michael close them for, hey, I'm just going to be in the neighborhood. Are you going to be in home tonight or tomorrow? So some of those leads I think that we're tossing away that have a home to sell, give them to Michael and Karen and tell them, hey, they're saying they're 6 months out, but you leave it up to them. They're the experts on the listing side to get the appointment.
And just remember the most important thing in here is to be upbeat and repeat and affirm and ask a little bit of questions. And if you have to rush through it, remember a driver from the personality style is going to want you to be very direct and very quick. If you're lumbering on through the script and asking too many slow questions, they're going to just hang up on you. And if she was even more combative to me, I would have gone very quickly to the, hey, I'm just looking to help you out. We've got people that tell us they're just looking, and I want to make sure you're getting the right listings. Are you seeing the right listings? And then I'll let you run. And I just get, and she may talk to me for about 30 seconds or a minute. I'll say, fantastic. I'm just always curious before I let you run, why are you in the market for a home? And I'm just going to try and qualify real quick. And then you saw me ask very quickly, well, have you thought about when you want to put your house on the market? And she said, well, I'm not sure. But I do know, I on that call, even with a combative person, I figured out whether they had a house to sell and what her products were on timing and how long she'd been looking. Those are the most important 3 things that you need to get out of the call.
Yep. And the number one thing, and I'm going to just add to that, and then we are going to go, 70% of your income comes from lead follow-up. So now even if that person's combative, you flip that lead over to Michael. Michael puts it on his ticker file somewhere to call him, beginning of October or whatever. Next contact date, probably the most important thing. Ask great questions, leave great notes in the system, guys, and set up the next contact date when you're going to follow up with them. Even though maybe you're counting on Michael to follow up, that you should put a next contact date in there to follow up with Michael in the next 30 days to see if you might have met with him. Does that make sense? I don't want you talking to people. Everybody you talk to has to have a next contact date.
Okay.
And that would be the case, and I know we'll let you go after this because we've gone over a little bit, but even though they said that I'm already working with an agent, you still need to follow up with them. You say, fantastic, enjoy the website. You still need to know what their timing is, why they're in the market, and whether they have a house to sell. It's still something that needs to be followed up on because so many people have agents that leave the market, they get tired of working with them and go on to something else, and then now they become a lead because they're not going to buy until next spring. So err on the side of always having a follow-up. And again, it's timing, motivation, and how long they've been looking. Because imagine Stephanie said, I've been looking for 2 years. I'm going to ask her. So that's a long time to not have purchased. Are you serious about purchasing, or are you just like to browse? Because I want you to be able to enjoy the website, but I'm just always interested. It's really, I'm going to intimate that I'm very curious. I'm always interested to understand when people don't purchase, especially in this market, for that length of time. And I'm going to get her to tell me, in her words, why she hasn't purchased. I'm not in a combative way. It's just more a curious thing.
Yep. Hey, guys, I hope that was helpful to you today. Really just try to, and Chip, this comes from practicing. Just go back and listen to us do this again. There's a couple other videos very similar to dealing with objections on my YouTube site. So there's lots of resources as far as just keep practicing these scripts. And know that my objective is to go one of 4 ways: lender, listing, setting up a new safe search, or a meeting. So there's always a next action step. So you just need to, before you get on the calls, and you start making your calls for the either if you've got leads and you're up today, or they're lead follow-ups, that you always know there's one of 4 ways this is going to go, or 5, which means just enjoy the site. Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Hey, thanks so much for being on the call today, and I want to thank Kevin for being here. Kevin is the master of scripts, and we every once in a while I think I'll bring Kevin on just so we can do some of this role playing, guys, so you can hear. And maybe we're not combative enough, but I want you to hear about the winning, not about the losing. There's no point. So, Kevin, anything else
you guys give me is best examples of being combative, because it's going to help you the most. It's hard to role play. Here's the problem. If you're asked great questions, it's really hard to not say yes to questions that are logically answered and moving forward. So Stephanie, even if I lay down the framework, has a hard time being combative with me because it's not her nature. So we'll maybe get Michael on here. He and I have role played a few times, and he can be a little bit more combative. But the thing you should know is I work with, as a proportion, many more sellers than buyers. And this is just practice, but it's something that if you spend the effort to invest your time in it, will become an easy skill for you to go through and go, great, they're giving me I'm just looking, I know what to do next.
Right. Okay, Kevin, thanks so much. And guys, hey, I'm glad to have you on the call this morning. Make it an awesome week, and look forward to talking to you again. I'm trying to think again, next Monday. And that's about it, Kev.
Okay. All right. Have a great day, guys.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Lovely.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.